Hello and welcome. My name is Tom. This is the Enthusiasm Project, Season 2, Episode 17. And this week, we're going to keep good on our promise that we made last week. So if you missed last week, you should go listen to it after this or even watch it. And what do I mean by watch it? We streamed it live on Heather's YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com/HeatherJustCreate, you will be able to see last week's podcast in video format. And of course, it's up on this feed as well. But the reason you would want to do that is because we turned the table. Heather took control. She interviewed me. It was like a really fun discussion. We had questions too from the live stream. This week, we're turning the tables back around. We're not live streaming like we were last week, but we are having a pretty cool discussion. So I've got Heather here. Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I am doing very well today.
And we're going to get to know Heather a little bit better because she's been on this podcast basically, other than me, more than anyone else. And she is, well, we are each other's business partners. And as we're recording this, it is one day before our wedding.
Dun, dun, dun.
So why not get to know her a little bit better? And actually, since this goes up on Monday, if you're listening to this on Monday, the day it goes out, that is our wedding day. We could actually be getting married while you're listening to this right now. And if you're listening to this after Monday, obviously that's not the case. But so we're excited. We should probably address that first.
Can't they watch it live?
Watch the wedding live?
Yeah, if they
That'd be such a small window of like, if they woke up early and listened to, like, this is the first thing you do on Monday morning, but it will be streamed live on Heather's YouTube channel around 11:30-ish on Pacific time.
Yeah.
And it'll be very interesting.
Yes.
So last week when we talked, why didn't we talk about our wedding?
Because we didn't know we were going to get married.
Well, we knew we were going to get married,
yeah.
But we didn't know.
When?
We didn't know we were getting married this week.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was a crazy experience that happened.
Yes. Very big time difference compared to our original October date.
Yeah. So I think if you've been listening for a while, you probably know we were supposed to get married in October of this year. And then obviously this whole pandemic got in the way of our wedding specifically. And it just, our date got shifted around. And now who knows? Like we don't even know if stuff's going to be open. When stuff does open, just because it's open, does that mean people would want to travel and come visit us? And there's just so many variables that we decided to just skip the variables and go with the certainty. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the first process to getting married is to file an application with the county office.
Yeah, because originally no one was allowed to get married.
Right.
The entire state was not allowing that to happen. And then I don't know, I would say last month, New York said, hey, yeah, you can get married via video conference. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool if the state of California would do that for us as well, just for us. And then,
that'd be really fun.
Yeah, so our governor did say that we can get married via video conference, but on the discretion of the counties. And then our county said, we're not doing video conference, but we are doing these like limited ceremonies where... It's not at a courthouse. It's not at a county office. It's at
the movie theater.
Yeah, so it's going to be at a movie theater, basically.
Not even in the movie theater, though.
Well, honestly, we don't know.
We don't know. I'm pretty sure it's not because it sounded like what they described it was at the ticket booth.
Yes.
We won't even know till tomorrow, but it sounds like they're on the other side of the glass or on this side of the glass, and that's what's keeping everybody, like, separate.
Right. And the number one rule is that we cannot bring anybody.
Yeah,
no
just
one
us.
is allowed to go except for us. Yeah. I was thinking earlier, like, I hope they don't make us wear masks.
I don't know. We will need to bring some, but I can't. Well, the county doesn't. The county's rule
the county
is not requiring
mandating it, right?
I was thinking we should bring masks so that match what we're wearing.
Yeah, but
we just use bandanas. We don't. But I mean, white. You could get like one of the purple ones that we have that like pops with white and is purple. That would be cool. I could get like the blue one. That would. So we've been like sort of. We got a phone call on Tuesday of last week.
That was like, do you want to book for Thursday? And Tom was, had meetings and I was working too. So we were like, let's do it on Monday. Let's do it next week.
Yeah, let's not be crazy. Let's wait
Yeah.
4 more days.
So because they're only scheduling 2 days in advance, we called them on Thursday to schedule for Monday.
And Monday works out because it's the 18th. And originally, October 18th is our anniversary.
Yeah.
So ideally, that was our original wedding date. And for 1,000 different reasons, that didn't work out. So doing it on the 18th of a month actually is nice. So
Still nice, yeah.
I know it's not like an anniversary month, but
And we're still
cool.
going to have like a reception celebration
whenever
at some
we
point.
can, yeah. But the tricky part with marriage licenses, so you have to get a marriage license when you get married.
Yes.
And you apply for the county and they give you your license, and then within
90 days.
It's 90 days. You have to
have a ceremony.
Yes, with the witness and everything where it becomes official. So since things were backed up, we decided as soon as they open applications, let's jump on and get our name in there. But we have no idea what's even going to happen in 90 days. I guess that's going to be open. And so that's why we're just like, well, if they can do the ceremony, why not just take care of it? It's done. That way it's official on our end. We're married. We're legally married. That's done. And then we can celebrate with everyone when the time is right.
Exactly.
And are you excited?
Yes, I am excited. It's literally less than 24 hours
Yeah.
that we're doing this, which is crazy. It's like, just a few days ago, we did not even realize this was going to be a thing, which is, obviously it's not like we haven't known that we were going to get married at some point, but
Yeah. It's not
it's
that
been a
kind
lot.
of spur of the moment, but
Yeah, but it is like, I don't know if you've told your people yet, but we're expanding the family.
I don't know if we've talked about that yet.
So we're expanding the family, and that was a decision that we made weeks ago. And that's kind of where all of the, all the like planning has gone towards that. All
We're
the
getting
excitement.
a puppy, is it? Because then you say we're expanding the family, and it's been usually it takes months for that to happen. We're talking about a puppy.
Yeah, we're getting a puppy next week, and so
That's the thing we've been thinking about.
That's the thing we've been thinking about, and that's kind of why we decided to get married on Mondays, because we wanted to get married before the puppy got home.
Yeah, we don't want him to have unmarried parents.
Well, we didn't want to just leave him.
Yeah.
He's going to be 8 weeks old. So.
Yeah, and even if our ceremony is short, it's still a couple hours away. Now we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
We can just focus all our energy on puppy parenthood.
Yeah, so it's just going to be a fun week.
It's going to be, today is Sunday. By next Sunday, our lives quite different.
I know.
Quite different. So if there's not a podcast next Monday, you know why. Hopefully there will be, but you know why if there's not. So that's kind of we're doing cool stuff. Like you kind of pulled together a wedding dress situation really quickly.
Yeah, because as much as it is quarantine, I wanted to have something special. It's not special. It's a white
special.
dress I found on Amazon, and I tried to look at other places, but Amazon Prime was the only thing that can get it here in time.
Yeah, and even Amazon Prime is sometimes iffy now.
Yeah, so it's white.
It's really nice.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll eventually be able to see pictures. It looks great. I love it. And then we're 3D printing some rings.
Yes.
And that's what we got. We just drew on the car windows, all the just marrieds, so that way we'll have that on the car.
Tom says he's going to make me a bouquet from all the flowers in the backyard.
Yes, in the morning, depending on what's blooming, I'll have to go cut some stuff and make a little bouquet of flowers from home, which I think is great. I think it'll look great.
And then we're going to live stream it.
Yes, it will be live streamed.
So I think that's I'm so nervous. I hope there's service. I am praying to the service gods.
I'm hoping
is that the theater that we live streamed at during our date night that one time? No, that was La Quinta.
Yeah, it's not that theater. So yeah, we've never live streamed from this theater yet, but we have gone to this theater before. So if you want to know more about all the prep, Heather's made a couple vlogs up on her YouTube channel, Heather Just Create, and you can actually see and hear and kind of go more in depth. But speaking of in depth,
yes,
let's get to know my fiance, future wife, if you're listening to this, potentially current wife.
Oh my gosh.
Let's get to know her. I know, it feels so strange. It's nice though, I like it. Ooh. Let's get to know you a little better.
Okay.
So we've talked about our journey, getting to know each other. A couple of times. I've described it a few times. It's a very fun story. I love that story. I want to mimic what you did last week when you interviewed me. And you broke it up into, we're going to talk about business, YouTube stuff, and then we're going to kind of dive into more personal, who are you as a person stuff.
Cool.
So we're going to go back before I was in the picture.
Yeah.
Because you've spent the last 4 years, since 2016, for anyone who doesn't know, basically just doing your own entrepreneurial journey. Mm-hmm. Breaking away from traditional and like blazing your own trail. And that's how we met.
Yes.
And that, I want to talk about that. But before we talk about that, I want to go to before that, because you went to college, you got educated, and then you had this 10-year career in marketing, which was a very successful career, was a very interesting career. But I think going all the way back to the beginning of that, it's very normal when somebody says, I went to school for graphic design and now I work in marketing, or I went to school for communications and I work in marketing. You did not go to school for those things and then you worked in marketing. So can you, because I don't even know if I know how you got into that in the first place, like what pulled you into it, what made you interested in it, and you stuck with it for a long, long time. So
into marketing?
Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to call that, marketing, communications.
Yeah. So, gosh, it all began on... so I actually graduated. Well, I didn't graduate. I went into college, declared as a bio major. I hated every second of it. I can't even explain to you how much. If you had known me back then, you would have been like, wow, you are such a miserable like heap of negativity, because this is just you dread this. You hate it. I hated it. And I sucked at it. So 3 years in, I was just failing. I failed OChem 3 times. And then during my internship at a hospital, which, had some fun aspects to it, the coveted floor, because you would rotate through every floor and get experience on every floor. The coveted floor was like the ER, the OR, or L&D.
What's L&D?
Labor and delivery.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Well,
I know the emergency room.
I know, but this brings me to... I was on the labor and delivery floor,
okay,
and I saw a C-section delivery, and I fainted. And I was like, okay, I physically cannot be, if I can't physically be watching this, then there's no way I can care for someone who needs like physical help.
Did you like fall on the floor? I've heard the story, but I don't know the details. You say you fainted.
Well, because that internship was so cool, because you could literally stand right next to the surgeon and the doctor, and you're staring at the body, right? And I've never seen it was just right there on the table, and I felt that feeling, like everything of like, oh my god, I'm about to black out. Like I started sweating, my vision was like starting to go, and I was so paranoid of like interrupting this precious moment. The husband was there like holding her hand and everything. I was like, oh my god, I cannot like crash and die right here. So I walked myself out. I walked to the nurse's lounge and I passed it out on the couch.
I wonder where that baby is now.
I know. I always think of that.
What if that baby is, because when was that? That was like what, 10, 12 years ago?
2007.
So that baby's in like middle school. What if that baby is like watched your YouTube videos? I have no idea.
I know, it's crazy.
Okay, so
anyway,
that didn't work.
Yeah, so that didn't work. So I finally switched to I wanted to switch to a different major, but because it was already like I'm approaching my senior year, I couldn't start over. So I had to switch to like the next closest thing, which happened to be applied ecology, which has like some aspects of public health / environmental science. Literally one of my finals was in a marsh. I had to like go like waist deep into a marsh.
Where do you even find a marsh?
Oh, we have a preserve at the University of California, Irvine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So anyway, there's marshes. And so waist deep, I'm in there. I have to like analyze bugs and leaves, and it's just so horrible. Whatever. I graduated. It took me 5 years, but I did it. I don't know how I got my first job, but throughout my college life, I was super active in volunteering and nonprofits and doing community service. And I always have been since like middle school. So I had this exposure to nonprofit. And I think when I just was looking for my first job, I found one at a nonprofit that provided resources to seniors and their families, senior citizens. And then that's what just kicked it off. Like I got super integrated into the nonprofit community. in an area of SoCal, and everyone kind of knows everyone in that circle. So as soon as I left that job, that opened up another. I actually got laid off from that job. Then that opened up another job, and then that opened up another job, and yeah.
And were you always in like the, like, where did the marketing part come in?
So it was, well, okay. So the first job was like executive assistant to the executive director.
Okay.
So that allowed me to get exposure to everything, like accounting, to customer service, to, you know, all the services they provide, to marketing, to writing grants, to, you know, all the facets to running a nonprofit organization. And the thing that I gravitated towards was all the marketing communications.
It just seemed fun.
Yeah, it just seemed fun, and it was the thing that I did faster than anybody else.
It just like came naturally.
Yeah, because like a big part of it was Facebook,
Okay.
which is crazy because 2008, you know, Facebook has totally changed since then. But I used Facebook in college, created events, and so that was kind of something that I folded in that was non-existent at that place. Like they were just super not online. So bringing it online, that allowed me to learn more about these tools like InDesign and
did you use InDesign?
I did.
Because you hate Adobe stuff now, or
I
not
love
Adobe
InDesign.
stuff, but
InDesign
really
makes sense to me.
Really?
Everything else does not make
I
sense.
didn't even know this.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
I loved InDesign. Yeah, it was such a I don't know, it was cool to work with. Photoshop, I can't, because InDesign's like all like layouts and like
You're right.
grids.
Yeah.
Photoshop is like I don't even know what to manipulate in this photo, let alone how to manipulate it. So it's different. Anyway, I fell into marketing. That was always a big aspect of what I did.
You did that for 10 years, basically going from nonprofit to nonprofit.
Yeah.
Eventually ending up at your last job. Yes.
Yeah. I was a communications manager at a private school for grades 6 through 12. My job before that was also at a nonprofit that served youth. So I think that's what kind of led to the next thing.
This is what's interesting, because I went to public school and have no experience with private schools. And you're like, yeah, I'm the communications manager. It's like what I learned about this whole world of private school. I don't know what you would call it, but that there's a whole different side that public school just doesn't have.
It's called the Association of Independent Schools.
So what does that mean?
It means that there is a board of directors, just like a nonprofit.
Right.
Right. A nonprofit is governed by a board and run by a board, and they kind of oversee the curriculum, the organization.
Yeah.
And like they get to determine, you know, what classes and all of the curriculum or the goals and all of that.
But your job, like the marketing part of it, is because the school needs money, right? Because the state's not giving the money.
You can equate it to like a public information officer in the public sector.
Okay.
But whereas the public information officer is, you know, obviously just kind of relaying information to the public, this person is relaying information to raise money because the tuition does not cover all of the expenses. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And
so fundraising is a huge part. I mean, it's like college. Fundraising is a huge aspect of independent schools, private schools.
But somehow through this, so that sounds very administrative.
Yeah.
The interesting part is where you sort of took on like my job at your school.
Yes. So I don't even know how that.
Because this is where like both of our origin stories suddenly line up. Like we were sort of we weren't even that different, because I know you made movies when you were a kid and for school projects, and you know I did too. And then obviously you went in a very scientific field for college. I went English literature and like artsy stuff. But then there's a point where it kind of converges, and for each of us it was through a student.
Yeah.
Recommending something.
So I was doing marketing at the school, and a lot of that was made up of online stuff, a lot of social media, a lot of websites, a lot of digital media.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Content.
Content creation.
Yeah. Wait, what was the question?
It was leaning in towards how you got to the point where you were really working with students. You basically formed like a media club program.
Right. Okay. So, because I was always walking around the campus with my phone and cameras and stuff like that, the kids would always come to me asking me, like, you know, Ms. Ramirez, how do I get more followers on Instagram? Or like, how do I post my video on YouTube? How do I get more views? How do I, the things that started to really capture my attention was, how do I make a LinkedIn profile for college? That's when I was like, you're coming to me? Like, no one else on this
right.
college
No one.
Services, like, department isn't preparing you. The teachers aren't,
No.
and if anything, because I was the only communications person. I was in charge of the calendar. I was in charge of talking to the, PTA, all of that. I knew every event that went on campus, and every time there was something tech related, it was always like, okay, we have our cyberbullying speaker coming to like talk about the dangers of social media and everything, which is fine.
Yes.
But there wasn't the opposite. There
Right.
wasn't like, look at the, look how you can use this
No balance.
to get into, college, and how to connect with people and network and put
Like
your
use it.
name
It's
out
not
there.
going away, so you should use it responsibly
Yes.
and effectively. I
And
feel like we had this discussion a few times.
Yeah. So anyway, that was kind of in my mind. And I think it was a selfish thing where I was so swamped because you know this, you were in charge of your book. Every single entity on campus wanted more FaceTime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There is always more.
Yeah, your job like never ends. And so I tried to make it easier on myself by recruiting the students who loved hanging out with me, loved being in my office. I'm like, dude, you get your phone and go take some pictures and send them to me.
Yeah,
and like,
of course.
because they wanted to learn how to use
It's
Facebook
perfect.
and social media and Instagram and all of that. So I just gave them the login, and I was like, here's the work phone. Go, here's how you compose a description in a post, and here's how you do the hashtags and all of that. And yeah.
And then the interesting part is you had one student with a great name.
His name is Tom.
Yes. And
Sixth grader.
Well, he's not in sixth grade anymore, but
Yeah.
at the time he was. And he turned you onto a YouTube channel.
He did. And like,
Which
Yeah.
is about the exact same time that I had a student he would have been 11th grade at the time, who was turning me on to the same YouTube channel. Just like, hey, Mr. Buck, have you seen this person's video?
and it was so like, I vividly remember this conversation. He was just sitting there, and like, this kid hung out with me a lot to the point where I was like, man, you should be hanging out with your friends and stuff. But he just loved being in my office. And one day he came in just super excited to be like, oh my God, do you know who Casey Neistat is? And I was like, no. Do you know what a vlog is? No. How about Roman Atwood? No. I don't know
what these things are.
No, I don't know. Jenna Marbles, I know her.
So, and then did you check out like a Casey Neistat video or?
Yeah, I did.
And what did you think?
I don't remember. I don't remember if I did it. I must have done it.
Because this is
there.
what, like 2015 Casey? Like he's in the
Yeah.
middle of daily vlogging?
Yeah.
Okay. That's like prime, just
prime Casey.
yeah.
Yeah, Casey at his prime before it really became mainstream, where like now everyone's doing it. Yeah, just every single day, boosted board, the whole thing. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I do remember when I discovered him, I could not stop watching.
Yeah.
Like, I woke up excited knowing that there was going to be a new upload, and I've never felt that except for your channel.
which was later though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's what's crazy, because I had a student, in my digital media classes, and he was wanting to do projects, and he always said like, I want to do this project like a Casey Neistat video. And I was like, I don't know what that means. Like, what are you talking about? And then he just kept talking about like, Casey's great. And for me, as soon as somebody says, you need to go watch this video, it becomes homework, and I will not watch that video.
Yeah, same here.
And I don't know how this also happened, but YouTube, just my homepage was just like Casey videos everywhere. Probably because it was like at the height of his daily vlogging, and it was blowing up like crazy. So I'm sure YouTube is just like, everybody needs to watch this right now. And I just remember seeing this guy And I didn't want to watch them. I didn't watch it for the longest time because I just thought like the high school kids like it. YouTube's recommended. It's in one of those super extreme like prank channels, prank bro, whatever. And I was like, no. And then I don't remember the first Casey video I watched.
I don't either.
But what I remember was at some point in the video, he's in his New York studio and he's talking to the camera where he's sitting down, and behind him is like his, just the Casey chaos of just
workshop.
Workshop. And I remember I was interested in what he was saying because suddenly it became clear that like, oh, he's older. Like he was in his mid 30s. He wasn't this like 21-year-old dude or 18-year-old guy. It's like, oh, this is interesting. The thing he was talking about was fascinating. I don't remember what it was, but I remember being fascinated. And while he was talking, I remember just looking behind him at his like studio. And I was so confused because I've seen people set up nice YouTube studios where everything
was a mess.
His was like an organized mess, but it was clearly used. Like there were tools and there were things and there was, I remember specifically looking at like his metal trash can that was under a thing going like, does this dude just sit in here and like cut wood and like make stuff? Like is he like actively doing stuff for real? And it's not, and that for some reason, that's what hooked me. And then I just watched more and more. And of course you fill out the whole story. And then it was just like you said, like you become kind of obsessed with like, I think we forget in 2020 how revolutionary that was when he started that 5 years ago of.
Well, I think like the other thing too for me was how, I mean, knowing what I know now and knowing so much more about Casey, I had no idea about his film background. Okay. This is just a guy with a camera who's on YouTube.
Very accessible.
Well, that and like, because he was so rough with everything, like, like he's doing his glasses, he just throws his glasses, he spray paints it, he's not trying to make it perfect. So you think that his approach to those like tactile tools is the same with how he makes the video. So it's like, okay, it's this easy. He's so, I don't want to say careless, but just not like perfect.
It can be rough.
Yeah, it could be rough. So that means I could, take my phone, take my camera, and do the same thing, right?
Yes.
And that, it just like, he is 100% the person who made me pick up a camera. Like he made me try.
For YouTube specifically?
For YouTube, yeah.
Did that play into then so now we're at what, like 2015-ish sometime, late 2015 maybe in our timeline. You're working at the school. You've got, the student introduced you to Casey. You're really into this thing. It's starting to feel super approachable. It's in April of 2016 that you leave your job to start your own journey, being your own boss. Did this like, what was there a connection between this and that? Or like, how did you get there? So this is for your listeners only. Exclusive.
Yeah. I don't talk about this on my YouTube channel because I don't know who watches my YouTube channel. I don't know who listens to this either, but it's probably less of my.
Have I heard this before?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was getting real like, uh-oh.
No. How do I explain this? Was not in a good situation at work.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. And so that was the reason why I quit.
So you wanted a different job. You were just like, I can't
needed
be
to
here
get out
anymore.
of there. Okay. Yeah. Like for my sanity, I had to get out of there.
Okay.
Now, when I had made that decision in my mind, I went to a digital marketing conference. And this was like, how we've gone to VidCon, we've gone to, I've been to social media marketing world, whatever. This was like my first taste at a very small version of that. And it was all about marketing. And I just was sitting there thinking like, oh my God, look at all these tools and, all of the new features that Facebook and all these things and YouTube and all of that is coming out with, and no one knows about it. It's only the marketers in this room. And I was like, thinking about Casey and how he's doing it. And now I have this knowledge and like, my passion for digital literacy for the kids. I was like, okay, this is there's something here. I don't know what it looks like, but if I'm going to quit my job, this is the perfect time to try to start something. And if I fail, I can always fall back to exactly where I left. Right. Yeah. So that's it. So
that's where you went. And then what did you start? Like because I've seen your first video. You've talked about your first video. You gave your 30-day notice?
60-day
notice.
60 day. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
for school, I didn't realize like you needed to give 60 days.
Okay, so you went in one day and you're like, okay, I'm not going to work here in 60 days. But you didn't have a plan for what you were going to do in 61 days.
No.
But you started to try to figure that out while you were still at the school, right?
Yes. So I just spent every waking hour that wasn't at my school to learn how to start a business. And the thing is, I didn't know what I was envisioning. The only thing that I knew was that I came up with this mission statement real early: educate and empower people to utilize digital media to achieve meaningful goals. And that was based off of, I wanted to educate and empower the students to use digital tools to apply for college, build up their network, blah-de-da-de-da.
Every time you say that, it's like I've heard it so many times. It hits my brain differently because
seriously, it's because we always talk about how everything led to another thing.
Yeah.
If not for my nonprofit experience, I would have never been able to come up with that mission statement.
Right. How would you know to even make something?
I have been through so many board meetings of what's the mission statement?
Ugh.
What's the But it was a vision that I understood, and when I told it to people, they understood it. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna roll with this. I don't know what that looks like in terms of products and services, and is this a physical space? I have no idea.
But for a mission statement, though, that was
perfect. My mission. That's what I was set off to do. So it was just a lot. It was a lot of YouTube. It was a lot of reading books. It was a lot of going to the library and Barnes and Noble and talking to people and interviewing and coffees and all of that, all the while documenting.
So were you scared this whole time? How were you feeling? Was there anxiety over the job or excitement or?
The biggest thing that I felt was I don't think I've ever been so excited and driven about anything in my entire life ever. Because we just talked about my entire career. I've been in positions where it's just kind of, okay, here I am. I don't necessarily want to be here, but this is where I'm at. So whatever. That was I felt like I woke up.
It sounds empowering.
Oh my God. I felt it was crazy. It was like I saw the whole world differently. I was like,
what do you mean? How do you see the world differently? What do you mean?
Well, because I always felt like there was only one way to do everything. And I never
just from childhood.
I always failed. I tried so hard and I failed in every way. If it wasn't grades, if it wasn't, I don't know, getting reprimanded somehow, or,
just meeting expectations,
feeling the satisfaction of when I do meet the path. I'm not feeling the happiness I'm supposed to.
Because you don't even care about the path.
Exactly. There was just always something off. And then it was this big realization of oh, all those cliches of when you pursue your dreams or whatever, if you're doing something you love, you'll never work a day in your life, whatever. But it was oh my God, this is all true.
Right.
It just hit me so hard. I could actually do this. I could figure this out. And I actually have the capability to do that. I've never believed in myself like that ever. And it was the craziest. I couldn't sleep. I was literally high with no drugs, the highest high of ideas would fly at me. It was just crazy. It was I don't know, Renaissance.
That
it was awesome. But I had no sleep. Oh my gosh. It was probably the most unhealthiest time of my life, but it just was, it
was a transformation.
Huge. And this is when I also discovered Gary Vee. So,
okay.
And you know him now. We all know him now, I think. But seriously, back then, when your parents are telling you that you're a total failure because you're trying to do this entrepreneur,
so they weren't on board.
We're not on
your
board. Your family, totally not on board. We literally went, months, almost a year without talking. I got into a huge argument on Christmas. I had to run out, and I got to my apartment at the stroke of midnight on Christmas, and I spent the Christmas day at a co-working space, totally by myself. I didn't talk at all that day, and I was okay, I am sad, but I also feel this is how dedicated I am,
Right.
Yeah. So Gary was the one who was you could do this, don't let it parents. And
well, I think he has a message that gets taken out of context a lot and gets taken to the extreme a lot and gets.
Well, I think now it's you know, he's been mainstream for a while where people could say that they're kind of over it. But back then, like, no one was doing social media like he was doing.
Well, and it's the same thing with Casey too, where it's like, okay, everyone like
Vlogs
electric
now.
vehicles and vlogs, and you got your Gorilla Pod and your whatever, but it's like, no, it's not.
Back then, though.
I found a project like thing for my video production or digital media classes back in like, it must have been 2014, 2015. This was an assignment, and it was for like a long-term quote unquote short film project. And it literally specifically said no vlogs as one of the things. V-log. But the reason for that was because I had so many students who would go like, I want to do a vlog, or I feel like they wouldn't have called it vlog. Otherwise, why did I call it vlog? But anyway, and their thing was they would just sit in front of the iMac in the classroom with the crappy little iMac camera, and they would just like talk about sort of nothing for 5 minutes and then be like, okay, this is my project. Meanwhile, other kids are grabbing all this gear and they're trying to find a location to film something, and they're writing scripts and storyboards. And I'm like, the work that you're doing is not equal, and not even just the work, but like the idea. I don't care if you're sitting in front of the computer, if you're expressing an idea that's so new and different, it's like earth shattering, but you're not. And so how am I supposed to, that was what I thought a vlog was okay, it's someone sitting in front of a webcam just sort of rambling for a while. And then Casey shows up on the scene, and it's like every single day he's cranking out a little movie that's like engaging, it's stylized, it's tactile, it's purposeful, it connects to something, there's a theme.
Yeah.
I mean, 1,000 different reasons why it was great, and it hadn't been done before that way. And like you said, I think it woke up a lot of people and made them feel like I could do this. And I definitely had that same feeling of like, I have all this stuff. I need to grab it and do something with it now. There's nothing in my way.
The greatest part about Gary and Casey, like these two guys being my heroes who influenced me during that time, was that both of them did say so often, like, you could do this. Why are you watching me? Go exactly. Make your own thing, you know? And like, I can't tell you I remember like how many times I had to go watch a Casey video for inspiration. He would say that. And I remember the feeling of my laptop closing and then me grabbing the camera and going. I was like, oh, I got to go make my own thing.
That's just an empowering and wonderful feeling. And powerful. I like it. So, okay. So you're trying to figure out this thing to go with this mission statement, and it goes a lot of different ways. Like there's client projects, there's freelance stuff. You're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
Where are you at now? So when you're at the point now where you're at a network event or you're wherever and someone says hi, well, I guess now it doesn't happen, but in theory, in a world where you go outside and you introduce yourself to people and they say, hi, I'm so-and-so, what do you do? Where do you even go with that question?
So originally I started out with my lane, which was digital marketing. So like my very first freelancing clients were just digital marketing and doing social media and stuff like that. But as I was documenting my journey, I felt like on YouTube, I felt like the greatest impact that I would make was not from the people who were necessarily paying me, but were from the people who were watching my vlog and then trying it for themselves. Because that's what had happened to me, and that's what I wanted to happen to other people, like do for other people, is that same, you know, what I call it, share spark to other people, where, you know, I watch a Casey video, now I'm inspired to go make something. Well, I want someone to watch my video and go make something.
And you were getting those messages from people like in tears of...
Yeah, I inspired them in some way. And when it comes to my business, I've tried, like Tom said, a myriad of different things, but I felt like the most impact that I've been able to make is through my vlog and helping people start and share their stories on YouTube.
Because you have 2 YouTube channels now.
I do, yes.
You have your vlog channel, Heather Just Create, which has over 10,000 subscribers and like 400 videos?
450?
Yeah. A long library of videos cataloging years. So you can go watch from the very first one where you have the 2 minutes of silence because there's no royalty-free music and you didn't want to get in trouble, to, you know, most recent one where you can just like crank out this stylized thing in an afternoon, and everything in between. And then you have your tutorial channel, which is youtube.com/sharesparkmedia. Mm-hmm. And that is more directed towards what you're talking about now, of helping people build their build their channels, like express themselves, even, go from zero
to YouTube
to
hero.
YouTube hero. And of course, you've got the course, your YouTube hero. You've got social media, Instagram and Twitter with like communities and followings that are
We have a mastermind.
pretty substantial. You and I have our mastermind that we work together with people who are just starting out with their channels. So it's really like built out into something that has positively impacted a lot of people who have then gone on to positively impact a lot of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty cool.
It is. I'm very proud of it.
You should be really
I
proud of
know.
it. You should be proud of it. You should be excited about it. And okay, so that's like your resume in 40 minutes, or at least like a basic version. Going into YouTube, why? I mean, you talked about Casey. Was YouTube something that was fun and exciting when you started doing it?
Yeah. Oh, from day one. Because I mean, I think I've talked about this, but I didn't have anyone to talk to. I had my friends, which, like my roommate, and I was able to talk to them, but it was like they didn't relate to me because they were doing the career path of, I'm getting promoted, I'm doing the 9 to 5 or whatever, and I just was like, I'm working in the kitchen table, or I'm busting out my laptop at 2 a.m. Like there just wasn't anyone who I could talk to that understood that. And everyone else, like my parents primarily, were just like, did not recognize my drive or my passion. Or maybe they did, but it was just like, who cares? Go get a job. So anyway, that's why YouTube, like, it just was my place of comfort. It was the place where I felt like every doubt I had, every accomplishment I achieved, I was able to share it there and not have any judgment. I could just talk out my thoughts. And if anything, I was totally just leaning into to what I do anyway, which is talk to myself, because I would rewatch them and I'd be like, oh, wow. It allowed me to like kind of get out of my head and be like, okay, this is what you're doing. This is, like I was able to process my feelings after having expressed them and then watching it over again.
Right. That's interesting. It's almost like reading your journal.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very reflective. And it always had been since day one, like vlog number 1.
And then obviously at some point you went and got your boosted board as like Casey tribute, and then I was looking to buy a boosted board, and then I found the review you did on your boosted board, and then that's where this whole thing started.
The algorithm works.
The goal is to show people what they want to see when they want to see it, and there you go. So we're gonna get married tomorrow.
I know.
So thanks, Casey and Boosted and YouTube, because wow, that's pretty cool. Personally, let's sort of go.
That's so crazy. Why did you want to get a boosted board?
Because
you weren't vlogging. I knew why I wanted one, because I was like, dude, I live at the beach, man.
Yeah.
Like no one else has one here. I'm vlogging. Like I want to do that.
Well, I didn't live at the beach, and the thing that does suck about where we live, it's beautiful, it's fun, but it's not like
it's hot.
It's hot and it's not boosted board friendly. You can ride on a straight road for like a long time. And then go to like the store or something, but it's not like the beach where there's a path and there's curves and you can just jump off in like a shady spot. And like, it doesn't make as much sense here. But I had the same thing you had, where I discovered like Casey's perspective, and I had been so in my own head about everything. I hadn't been making any of my own projects. I had just been doing these like either helping students with their projects or these like corporate style videos, which were not like super engaging. They're fun to make, but they're not like creatively expressive or anything. They definitely didn't have like my personality in them, I didn't feel. And just, like just sort of feeling a little bit trapped. And then it was kind of like the same reawakening. I didn't quit my job, but it was the end of my first year of starting a new digital media program, and just looking at that. And I was in a situation there where like I had been brought into this school district in this school. There was a budget and resources to go here, start this program. We value it. We value your experience. And I realized like I can kind of just take this wherever I want. Like the students are interested in it. I had, that was the thing I was scared about, but there was clearly like a student body that was interested. And then other than that, it was like, why do things have to be a certain way? Like I can just start a YouTube channel. I can just do that. It was like that freedom of your life is whatever you want it to be. It can be as traditional as you want it. It can be as non-traditional as you want it. It's your decision to make, and you can do whatever you want. And I had been so not into doing the things that I wanted to do for so long for fear of it being like criticized, for fear of it not working out or whatever. And it was just that freedom of like, I can do this. And, you know, Casey makes writing boosted boards look really fun. And then it just seemed like this freedom thing. And I just remember it seemed, it was just like like a physical embodiment of freedom. It's like getting a bike when you're a kid. And it looked fun. And to me, it was like, this is ridiculous. I'm not like a skateboarder. This looks so fun though. And it's so stupid. And this is something I would have never gotten in my life. And I would have thought that I would get made fun of.
Oh my
and
gosh.
It's ridiculous. What? I'm cool.
Hey, I have said that you were the coolest person since day one. That's not what I mean. But it's $1,600.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, if I'm just going to go for it because it's really fun. And I don't like, literally I didn't know how to ride it. So I found like an empty school parking lot. And on like Sunday nights, I would go and just sort of ride around the parking lot and then expand a neighborhood just to learn to get comfortable with the speed and get comfortable with like not dying and all that kind of stuff. But before I got it, I, doing the research and want to see like, what is this like in real life? Like how to, is it just this ridiculous thing? And then, there's a couple of like lame reviews I watched and then yours popped up and that's one of
my favorite videos.
And then the algorithm just served up next, like one where you're talking about starting digital media stuff. And then it had also, which I didn't even realize was you, had served up your Iceland packing tips. Cause I was also in the same time I got the boosted board. I was like, I've always wanted to go to Iceland and no one is ever going to show up and go, hey, let's go to Iceland right now.
I would have.
You would have, but up until that point, no. And I was like, I want to go. Why can't I just go? Why do I have to wait for somebody else to like give me permission to go? I can do whatever I want in the world as my own person.
Cute.
And you had already gone to Iceland like, a few months before. And you posted a packing tips video, and I watched that.
It's like one of my favorite videos, too.
I didn't even realize that was you. I just saw the boosted board, the digital media one, and then later on I connected the dots like, oh, that packing tip was you as well. So those are just three very interesting things that are connected. And then that's why I got my boosted board. And then I was starting my YouTube channel at the time, which had nothing to do with like vlogs or boosted boards. But then, that was the big thing, which I've talked about before. I was making YouTube videos at home, just very like by myself. Or I do a little bit at school, like, hey, here's the thing I'm building at school or whatever. And then you showed up and you're like, you should just make videos about like whatever. And that's okay. Like, it's totally okay to want to make videos and it's okay to want to share these things. And
I talked about this in the last episode a little bit, but when I met Tom, I was like, dude, you literally have no excuse. Like, I have a learning curve. I have no video background. I don't know how to use these things. I had to learn. I'm using iMovie. I'm using iMovie, the Canon S110. Okay, and you're the one with like lenses and Adobe Premiere and a whole Mac lab and all of these things, and you didn't have a YouTube channel. Like, how the hell do I have one and you don't have one? That was my thing for Tom. And like, when I met him, he was already at that point where the YouTube channel is made. He had his toe dipped in there, and I just pushed him in.
Yeah, I needed that, and that you've been able to do that for a lot of people, not just me. And there's something about you're very good at doing that for people.
I love doing that.
So let's quickly shift into other gears. It's okay. I unplugged my headphones. It doesn't affect the recording. Let's quickly shift now just to get to know you personally a little bit, which might tie into this. So easy transition. Who are some of your favorite YouTube channels? That you've been, or at least ones you've been watching lately?
I just did a TubeBuddy interview, and she asked me the same question. And mine was like all blank. I feel so bad. Okay, well, the two that stand out, because I don't watch a lot of YouTube, but the three that stand out are Vlog After College
with
Ryan and Gatsby.
Gatsby the corgi
is a vlogger who has a corgi.
Yeah. Those are just like the most fun videos, and there's hundreds and hundreds of them.
Yeah. And let's see. Since we're getting the puppy, McCann Dogs.
That's a
I
great
love their
dog
channel.
training one.
Oh, it's so good. Like if you're trying to make a tutorial channel, dang, they have it down. Like the hook, the intro, like the meat of it. I'm definitely taking notes, like as a YouTube coach, but also as a future puppy mom. Zygor Gaming just discovered.
Oh yeah.
That was it's very rare for me to discover a YouTube channel and then get excited because there's like all this other content to watch because they've been creating for so long. Like I can't even remember the last time that happened. And for him, like that happened because it's all like it's all the summary of really long RPGs like Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger.
And you
these
love
games,
your RPGs.
Yeah, and they would take like 40 hours to play, and he like sums it up in like 45 minutes, which is so nice.
It's still a pretty long
it's
video.
Thorough. Yeah.
Yeah. So you like video games?
I do.
What is? Let's see. Let's go into video game world. What is your favorite video game of all time?
Chrono Trigger.
On which console?
Super Nintendo.
What's your favorite console of all time?
Oh, PS2.
PS2.
Probably PS2.
Why PS2?
Because Final Fantasy 8, 9, 10.
I don't know.
Yeah. 10? 9? Definitely 9.
So
lots of good RPGs. Lots of hours spent.
On the PS2?
Yeah.
Even though your favorite game is on the
Super Nintendo.
But
I didn't really know what was happening back then. I mean, I've played it multiple times since. Like even on my phone, I have it. And I love Super Nintendo, but I think like based on how many hours I've put into a console, probably the PlayStation 2.
PS2.
Yeah.
What about, let's talk about.
Well, actually, there's also World of Warcraft. That's a close second.
How many hours?
Oh,
how
man.
many months? Years.
So I can't even. We Tom and I have put in like hundreds of hours into Animal Crossing at this point.
Have.
So imagine that, but like for years,
Yeah,
like
it's been
bouts
2
of
months.
in and out. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, World of Warcraft, so good. I love that game. So good.
What do you why? What's so good about it?
Because it's like Animal Crossing,
Okay.
but like with quests.
Okay.
Like off the island. Like off the island, and you can co-op. Like you guys would go and like go into a cave and go mine for like silver or whatever, and then you come back out and turn it in, and then they give you a reward and give you another quest, and you just go and it's just so much fun. Oh my god, I love it. But see, I haven't played it in years because Tom would never see me. He wouldn't have a wife.
You would just disappear. Yeah. What about, let's talk about other just like entertainment stuff people like. What is your favorite movie?
Beauty and the Beast.
The original, the
Yes.
animated one. What about favorite TV show? If you have one. I don't even know if you have a favorite TV show.
I mean, it's probably like anime at this point.
Do you have a favorite anime of the ones we watched? Because we've been watching a ton since last summer.
The two that stand out to me, do you know?
Steins Gate?
And
Demon Slayer. Yeah. Both
those are probably my
truly excellent.
Yeah. My top faves.
Yeah,
and
and
Fruits Basket.
Yeah. And we're playing the Steins Gate game on the Switch
Yeah.
right now. Well, not right now, but concurrently. What about foods? Let's talk about foods. Because one of the things which I learned as soon as we met pretty much was that you like food, but also that you have a visceral reaction to food. So when you eat something, especially if it's something new and it tastes good, and it doesn't need to be a fancy restaurant. It can be something at home. It could literally be a bowl of oatmeal in the morning. It could be, just a snack, or it could be fancy food from a fine restaurant. But as soon as you eat something, there's this thing of like, oh, and it sounds like you have burned your tongue.
And my hands go up in the air.
Your hands go up, and it sounds like you burn your tongue. And I think something's wrong. Are you choking? Is it terrible? What is it? But it's usually just because it's so delicious.
It's so good. I know. And Tom, he was so confused at first.
Yeah, I finally learned, like, I don't even think it phases me now, but I learned. So what is your favorite food?
Probably French fries.
French fries?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not oatmeal?
I mean, French fries has been like my, go-to answer for that for a long time. I love oatmeal. But it doesn't stick out to me as like a food that I don't make, French fries.
Okay.
A food that I make, oatmeal.
Specific French fries?
Yes.
From where?
McDonald's.
What? So this was another thing about us that was great, which was I haven't eaten meat for almost 2 years now.
Yeah, crazy.
I know, which is fine. Which I mean, I like it. I'm happy about it. The only thing that really bothers me is basically like the whole McDonald's menu is just off limits. Unless I want like a salad or something, but I ain't going to McDonald's to get a salad. And that's annoying. Even their fries are not vegetarian, which is a little bit frustrating. Prior to not eating meat, I ate a lot of McDonald's, like a lot, and I really liked it. But there's this thing where it's like really cool to hate McDonald's and to go, I don't like McDonald's. I haven't eaten at McDonald's in 2 years or whatever. And
I never had that. And I never knew anybody who thought that was cool. Like all my friends, I lived right next to a McDonald's. Like all my friends, we were eating at McDonald's.
For some reason, I just encountered many people who bragged about how long they had gone without eating at a McDonald's. And so I was always just kind of like, oh, it's sort of like this shame thing that I do. And it's really bad. And then when we met and we were getting to know each other, I was like, look, I don't remember how I said it.
No, he was like, okay, so I have this confession. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the red flag. Yeah, this is because Tom was like, he's perfect.
Right, of course.
And he was like, so I love McDonald's. And I just looked at him like, this is the confession? Like,
my shame.
I literally was like, I think I'm in love now.
So thank you, McDonald's, even though I can't eat there anymore. And then when we did like our very first Share Spark TV episode, that was our go-to celebration meal afterwards, because that was just like...
See, that'd be cute if we can go to McDonald's after a wedding.
Well, it would be McDonald's if you had some friggin' vegetarian options. So get on it, please. Because I would like to give you my money for that, and I can't. Okay, so French fries are the favorite food. Let's see here. What about favorite band or artist?
Capital Cities.
Really?
Yeah.
Not Backstreet?
No. I mean, I love the Backstreet Boys. They will always have a special place in my heart.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but no, Capital Cities. I don't know. I love them.
So I had a great idea for a question. I completely blanked on it. I'm so sorry. But it's okay, because we're getting to the point where we're almost running a little bit long. When it comes to just like relaxing and having fun, what is your favorite thing to do?
Probably play video games.
Just video games. Just
I mean, you know that.
Couch situation,
right?
Video games, no stress. Yes.
Oh man,
it's wonderful.
I love it.
It makes, when you get into a game, like Octopath is the one that comes to mind on the Switch, where it's just a long RPG. You just did the Final Fantasy, is it 7 remake?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which was a little bit of that, but it wasn't as long. I get so happy when it's just like, you just have those hours to put in, because it's such a feeling of like contentment, and then I can just hang out next to you, and
Aww, that's so adorable.
I love that. Let's kind of, here's a question. I should have asked this earlier, but so we know a lot more about you now, I think, than we ever have before, which is really cool. I even learned some stuff that I didn't know. So I had a lot of fun learning that. When it comes back to your business, which is your own thing that you have started from scratch, and it's grown a lot and it's gotten to good places, where would you want that to be, to have a point where you could be like, I'm just happy? I know you might want to keep growing it, or you might want to change it or whatever, but what would be like ideal for you if someone were like, hey, what's your business? What do you do? And in an ideal world, you could answer that question. What would it look like?
I mean, I think pretty much what it is now, just with more people. So like the mastermind is one of my favorite things that like we've made,
It's really great.
It's because I feel like it's so, I don't want to say painless, but it's effortless. It's
organic,
seamless.
maybe.
Yeah. Like we don't, it's exactly, it puts Tom and I in a position where, this is not something that we have to, like, I don't want to say that we don't put in any effort, but it's so it's so in our element for us to do what we do with the people in the mastermind that it's just so much fun.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that effort that you're kind of like choking to life.
Yeah, like I'm like working, like, and it's stressful and all of that. Like, it's totally not stressful, and I love that. And I feel like, you know, it's still growing, and I'd love for that to expand and get bigger and then build off from there. I'd like to vlog more.
Just document the journey and fun. And
yeah, and especially with our life changes, like
many.
Well, that, and like, you know, I think because my journey with vlogging has been so up and down. I think a big reason was like, oh, I should be focusing on the business, and, you know, vlogging doesn't pay anything.
But I think that's also a good lesson though for people, is like, you've had your vlog channel for over 4 years and over 400 episodes. And it's not going to be crazy vlog every day for 4 years. Like, there's times where it's on fire, times where it's like slower, times where you love it, times where you don't like it. I think that that's normal and that's okay. But you want to get back into it without feeling guilty.
I started my vlog primarily for me, and I don't want to miss it. You know, like, I don't want, like, one of my regrets, I don't have a lot of regrets, this is one of them, is that when Tom and I started dating, I dropped off YouTube because obviously there was this guy in my life who I wanted to spend all my time. You know, I wasn't going to go leave you and edit a vlog or whatever, but there were so many special moments that thankfully we have, you know, documented in our little memory book or whatever. But there are things that, like, we're getting a puppy, we're getting married, like, I want to have these moments to remember.
Because you really use it almost like home movies in a lot of ways too.
Yeah, and like, you know, it's weird. I say that it doesn't bring in money, but like, you know, I vividly remember one of the live streams where I got into my first car accident that brought in a $17,000 client.
Yeah,
so it's
well,
like,
it's proof of concept, because when you and I talk about this, and we talked about this I think last week too, but there's so many YouTube coaches and gurus and things who are talking about what you need to do to succeed on YouTube. But that's all they do is talk about you need to succeed on YouTube, whereas you are like, okay, here's my channel, here's all my products and services that will help you succeed on YouTube. Hey, look, here's me succeeding on YouTube.
Well, yeah, here's me, like, doing the thing that I'm saying.
Right.
You know?
Just practicing what you preach, putting the money where the mouth is. So it doesn't matter. That's not necessarily like each video needs to generate this much money, but it's establishing credibility. You never know where clients are going to come from. I know you've had clients too who they see the more formal business side, then they discover the vlog, and that's what like attaches them to you. That's what makes you stand out as somebody who's different, and there's this emotional connection. Or they use it as, you know, you meet for the first time for a call, like, and they're like, I know this, and I know that.
You.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I mean, in terms of a marketing tool or business tool, which isn't what it, you know, needs to be, but it's very effective.
But it is, yeah.
Yeah, just organically, which is great. So I would love to see you do more vlogs and stuff. It makes me very happy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think everything is in a good rhythm right now. I mean, I know the world is completely upside down, but I think once this week, you know, we get through these big life changes, I think I'm going to be in a position where everything's just like, all right, cool, time to grow this.
We're going to be very tired with a little pup.
Man, I don't know. Like, I still can't decide whether this puppy is going to be like psycho crazy or just like
I think all
sleepy.
Puppies are a little of everything, so we will see. Well, thank you one day before our wedding for taking this time.
Oh yeah, we're getting married tomorrow.
Yeah, did you forget?
Well, I wasn't thinking about it.
Well, yeah, so thank you also for listening to this. If people want to find Heather, where's the best places for them to reach out to you or check out what you've done?
Hi, YouTube or Instagram, Heather Just Create.
There you go. And of course, I'm at SodarnTom on Twitter and Instagram, The Enthusiasm Project on YouTube. And of course, nobody takes me up on this offer. I don't know if y'all think I'm lying or what, but anchor.fm/enthusiasm. Leave a voice message.
Yes.
Be included in a future podcast. Let us know what you think. Let us know your thoughts. Give me an idea. Ask a question. Whatever you want, as long as it's school appropriate, because that's what I'm used to saying.
Give them a prompt. Make it easy.
Give them a prompt?
Yes.
Okay, tell me your biggest struggle in terms of creating your own thing. Whether
That's too hard.
What?
That's like such a hard thing. I'm not about to call into a random show and like say my biggest struggle is.
Okay.
He got sad.
Jeez. Okay, cool. Leave me a voice message that lets me know your most useful piece of equipment for creating whatever it is that you create, whether it's a podcast or a video. What is the thing that you just can't do it without?
And if you want to share your struggle, Tom would be happy to hear that as well.
I mean, I didn't mean it like I just meant, like, hey, because there's a dude this very morning, on one of the YouTube Facebook groups that I belong to, he was like, I'm a photographer and I love watching photography YouTube channels. And it's gotten to the point where I've even started thinking about possibly considering starting my own YouTube channel. But a lot of the photographers that I watch, they have moved away from photography and they're more into like gear reviews and video and stuff. And I'm missing the people who talk about photography. And I wrote a response to him and I was like, this sounds awesome because you love photography and you've clearly identified something that's missing. So you can be the person that brings what's missing to that thing. Because if you feel that way, other people feel that way. And he, was like, yeah, I should really do that. But right now, like I'm in where I'm living. It's really loud. And so it's hard to record videos because it's so loud. And I was like, oh, I get that. But if you're a photographer, you don't even necessarily need to be inside. You could go outside. Like you could find a location, a nice secluded location that's really pretty and scenic. Lots of landscape photographers do that. You can record your videos there. Get a cheap lavalier mic, and it's just going to isolate all the sound. It's going to sound really good, and you can do your videos there. And he's like, yeah, but I think I'm going to move. And it was one of those things where I realized you are in your own way. No matter what I say, I could be like, oh, here's my camera and my soundproof room and all this stuff. And there's going to be some other reason of like, but I don't know now. And I fully relate because I lived there for a long time.
It's if you don't want to do it, if you really want to do it, you'll find a way. If you don't want to do it, you'll find an excuse.
Yeah. I mean, and that's 100% true. So those are struggles. I'm happy to hear those just because maybe we can talk about them. Maybe we can relate to them.
Let's chat.
But of course you can, I'm curious, you can leave a message about whatever you want. If you want to leave a message and you don't know what to leave one about, just tell me your most essential piece of gear that you use to create whatever it is you create. And as always, I'm really grateful that you volunteered and donated and gave your time to spend with us on this, the day before our wedding. So we will see you next time.
As a Mr. and Mrs.
Have a great rest of your day.